Welcome back to Faith Fountain, where we explore precious truths to quench the thirsty soul. The theme for the month of February is love. That's no surprise, is it? What with Valentine's Day and all being in the month of February. There was no other choice, was there really? Today we are going to focus on this question. What is love? Is it a feeling that you feel when you... Well, that's not sounding too promising, so let's go to the dictionary. Today we're going to use Merriam-Webster's online dictionary to find out just exactly what love is. There are approximately 24 definitions of love in the Merriam-Webster online dictionary. They define love as both a noun and a verb, and further, they even define it for students, for children, and for those learning English as a foreign language. And so there are many definitions of love out there. But there are a couple in particular that I would like to share with you today. So there are 3 definitions that I'm going to share with you that I guess were my favorite of those defined by the Merriam-Webster. Definition number 1 states that love is unselfish, loyal, and benevolent concern, for the good of another. And it gives us 2 examples. The first example of such love is the fatherly concern of God for humankind. And the second example that they gave was brotherly concern for others. Now, definition number 2 that I want to share with you goes like this. It says that love is a person's adoration of God. And the third definition that they have posted, or that I have taken from what they have defined, is that love means God. And I think that that possibly is my favorite definition of them all. And it actually reminds me, and I'm sure it reminds you too, of a text in the Bible which defines God by saying that God is love. And so of course the converse is true. If God is love, then love is God. So let us go to our Bibles and find that text which says that God is love. We can find that text in 1 John chapter 4 verse 8. But let's read from verse 7. 1 John chapter 4 verses 7 and 8. And it reads, "Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God, and everyone who loves is born of God and knows God. He who does not love does not know God, for God is love." Now, this definition may seem quite simple because, after all, it's only 3 words. It's quite short. But it's actually a very profound definition, because here we see that love is personified. Love is a person, and that is the person of God. God Himself is love. And so, given that the theme for the month of February is love, and that God is love, what better way to explore love than to look at instances where the love of God is described in the Bible. God's special kind of love is sometimes inexpressible, sometimes undefinable. So let's see what further insights we can get about love by looking at God's kind of love as expressed by various writers in the Bible. And actually today I'm only going to focus on one writer, which is Paul. We're going to look at Ephesians, and we're going to look at Romans, and we're going to see what he says in relation to God's special kind of love. And in subsequent videos for the month of love, we're going to explore different expressions about God's love. But today, let's go to Ephesians chapter 3 verse 17. Now in this verse, and prior to getting to this particular verse, Paul was praying for the people of Ephesus that they would come to know God's love, that they would abound in it. Paul was praying for them that they would be rooted and grounded in the love of God. And what stood out to me about the love of God as expressed in this text, Paul, in willing or in praying for the Ephesians to be grounded in love, prayed that they would come to a knowledge of its height, its depth, its length, and its breadth. And what that suggested to me is that there was no limit to God's love. Paul wasn't able to give it a defined border, or to say let the Ephesians understand this particular thing about God's love, because he understood that God's love defies all boundaries. And so all he could say is, Lord, help them to come to a knowledge of the depth of your love, the height of your love, the length and the breadth of your love. Because indeed, God's love is boundless, it's limitless, and it goes the distance. Paul then also expresses a similar sentiment if we go to Romans chapter 8, verse 35. We see that Paul asks the question, who shall separate us from the love of Christ? And after considering all manner of possibilities, the resounding conclusion is made that nothing, not even height or depth, not even death, can separate us from the love of God. You see, God's love, his kind of love, knows no end. There's nothing greater than God's love. His love is on another level, a level that we as humans fail to reach every single day. But guess what? God's love never fails. In the upcoming weeks, we will uncover 3 evidences of God's love. Having defined love and understanding and realizing that God is love, and recognizing through the 2 examples today that his love is boundless, limitless, and that there's nothing that can separate us from that love. It's only fitting that we should try to find some evidence of God's love toward us. And so, every Tuesday, a new video will be released, and for the month of February, we will be exploring evidences of God's love for us. Stay tuned for evidence number 1 next Tuesday. Thank you for watching, and join us again as we explore precious truths to quench the thirsty soul.